All righty. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being on our call here on Thursday. I am super pumped. I'm super excited for you guys to be able to learn from somebody who I have a ton of respect for. And I cannot wait to do some more projects. We are very, very similar. And that's why like he and I jammed right away. He is an incredible real estate professional. He's an investor. He flips properties. He's into multifamily. He likes to wholesale. He thinks of real estate with an entrepreneur's mind, which is what I absolutely love. He's all about people and service and helping. But my favorite part about Omar is when I call him, he's doing a million things. He's handling his phone, and I can hear his kids in the background. He's holding his baby like he's full-time dad, full-time husband. And I just have so much respect for that. So without further ado, I'm super pumped for you guys. Get out your pens and paper because Omar is a beast and he's got some great little gems to drop here. I'm excited. I got my notepad as well. So bring it on, Omar.
What's up, guys? Thank you very much. Can you guys all hear me? We good? Nice. Andy, appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for that intro. Guys, if you don't follow Andy, please do. He's a beast as well. He's doing his thing, and it's awesome to see what he's done in LBC in Long Beach. And if you guys don't know as well, go get his book, 100 Doors. And that's what everybody strives to go and get in the real estate space as a real estate investor, all of the above. But guys, what we're going to be talking about today is passive income. And all of us here on the call are, I'm assuming, realtors, lenders, professionals in your prospective companies. And obviously, I've been doing this for 20 years. So I would say I'm a veteran, but guess what? I still take out the notepad and the pencil and the pen and take notes because everybody on this call doesn't know what they don't know. Okay. And let me tell you that right now, you don't know what you don't know. I still get coached. Andy still gets coached. People that have been doing the business for a long time. Nazar, our fearless leader with 5, he gets coached. So at every level of the game, you want to make sure that you are like a parachute. Your mind's like a parachute. If it doesn't open, you're probably going to die if that parachute does not open. Does that make sense? And what's crazy is that if you don't, you won't die technically. You just won't advance like you see others advancing because they're open to new things. Okay. So a little bit about me as we get started. I know I only got 30 minutes with you and I got a bunch of stuff that I want to share. Okay. There's 61 people on today, which is awesome. So give yourself a round of applause for plugging in on a Thursday at 10:30. So let's go. All right. I've been doing this for 20 years. I started off as just a regular real estate guy that wanted to make commissions. I was inside of my parents' restaurant because I was waiting tables and, still doing my thing, helping the family out. This guy at the bar said, "Hey, you want to sell houses?" I said, "Sure. What do we got to do?" He's like, "You sell a house, you make commission," which a lot of us wanted to get into this business to make commission checks. Those $2,000, those $3,000, those $4,000 checks. And depending on your area, you're probably at 15 or 20K. People in Seattle, people down in Newport, where Robert's at, and different ball game. But in my high desert area, our commission checks were $3,000-$4,000. But I was a server making $3,000 a month. And I was like, okay, well, if I could sell some houses, great. Passed the test. Long story short, started doing my thing. I really did not get into the real estate game for probably the first 6-7 years. Okay, because everybody has a learning curve. Social media wasn't out yet. It was a lot different to really let people know that you're in the business. So as I started the business, I really understood hey, how do I get better at this game? I mastered one avenue first. And that was I represented as many buyers as possible. I became a good buyer's agent in the market that I was in. Okay, people started knowing me. Then I became a better listing agent, right? Listings plus buy sides. Then after becoming a better listing agent, I started understanding the investment side. if everybody was in this downturn in 2008, 2009, when the market crashed, it was brutal. And somebody who started in 2002, when I got my license, you know, I didn't really know much. I just knew that, hey, listen, I kind of fell into an REO account. I started representing a lot of banks to sell their assets that were not performing. Guys, and if you don't remember, and if those people that do, we were buying houses for $50,000, less than what you paid for your vehicle, a piece of freaking real estate. And this was back then, but nobody knew that it was gonna, you know, start appreciating again. But as you understand this game, if you're starting out, if you're 5 years in, if you're 10 years in, focus on your earned income in your real estate business. Never go to the shiny object and say, oh, you know what, I'm going to let everything go and let me just start flipping. Or I'm going to let everything go, let me just start wholesaling. Let everything go, let me just become a landlord. I want a door because it's sexy. I want rentals because everybody talks about it. What they don't talk about is get better at your business. Figure out ways to be in different rooms so you can have conversations that, you know, people don't have. Like, I want to have more conversations with Andy because he's a beast. I want to have more conversations with Nazar because he's doing things that I'm not doing. Does that make sense? Everybody, participation is 100% key as well. Okay? Perfect. So as I'm going through this process, sometimes when people are successful, they leave clues. Okay, there's that saying. There is that saying that success leaves clues. And I was representing an investor that was flipping property. I had not flipped a house. I did buy my first house at 24. And he told me that, hey, listen, you don't have to be the smartest guy. You just have to implement what you learn quicker than most. Implement what you learn quicker than most. Okay? And when you do so, you're not reinventing the wheel, guys. You're just taking what somebody else does and throwing your spin on it and actually executing. There's a lack of execution. This is why if there's 100 people listening, there might be 10 of you that might actually do something. I'm hoping that's not the case who I'm talking to right now. I'm hoping it's 50% of you that are listening actually do something. Screenshot, take notes, do what you got to do, because it will move your needle forward. Okay. And as I'm going through this person, I was making $3,000-$4,000 on these investment properties that he was buying and fixing and then repositioning them, putting back on the market. I was the agent and I saw his HUD. Back then, before it was called a closing statement, it was called a HUD. And I would see how much money he was making. He was making $30,000, $40,000 by taking a piece of crap house, putting lipstick on it, and then reselling it, which I was doing for him. And he was making a $40,000 check. I was making a $4,000 or $5,000 check. So there's something wrong there. That happened about 5 or 6 times. And I said, you know what? I think I know that I'm a little better than this person. Thank you, John. I don't know where he's at, but he gave me this idea and I started flipping houses in 2010 because of this guy. And now, obviously, I said, well, I'm going to start buying these houses as well, figure out an avenue. And this is where I was in different rooms. This is where, still waiting tables, asking people that were super successful, what do? They told me about hard money. I was borrowing hard money to buy these small investment properties at 12 and 13% interest at 2 or 3 points in my market, because remember, lending was difficult. Nobody was lending because it was a depressed market. And because I did that, I just wanted to put renters in these places. I would flip some houses, increase my capital, and then I would hold a couple of the properties instead of flipping them. Okay. All while I never turned off the gas on my regular residential business of representing sellers and buyers, making those $4,000 or $5,000 checks every month. So I was doing both. And right now, there's no $4,000 or $5,000 checks anymore. A $300,000 house, you're making some decent money. You're making 2.5%, 3%. You're making $9,000. I'd say the average is like 10, 12,000 bucks a check. So as I went through this process, I started acquiring doors. I started understanding the market. I started understanding the ability to change your outcome to create passive income while you're a real estate professional, real estate agent, lender, whatever you want to call it. Okay, you're in the business. And I have some key points. I have 2 slides that I'm going to go through pretty quickly because I know we're low on time. But if we go over, trust me, it's going to be worth it. Okay? So long story short, now we have about 47 doors that are producing on a monthly basis. We flip about 30 properties a year. Our passive income takes care of all the bills and then some. We average about, I would say, $1,600 to $1,700 a door that comes in every single month. And that's with some vacancies in there too, because it's hard to get everybody, paying at the same time. But for the most part, it's a pretty freaking cool ride. And I would not be able, or we would not be able, my lady and I, Alyssa, my 3 beautiful freaking princesses, and we would not be able to do what we do if it wasn't for the passive income that we all try to get to.
Omar,
Okay.
the limiting belief that I have as you're saying all this is, well,
Yes.
yeah, but there's no $50,000 properties around anymore. The ship has sailed. The interest rates are too high. How can I get in this game right now? It's too difficult. I can't find any properties to flip and sell.
But see, that's everyone's mindset. It's so difficult, right? It's so hard. And this is what we're going to be talking about because we're all professionals. Okay. This is what I did back then. But the thing is, we're still doing it now. And we're still buying doors at 190K, 200,000, 250, because guess what? There's still sellers out there that need to sell their property. And we're going to go into this slide because I really, really want to get through this. This is going to bring a lot more value. You can be able to screenshot this and keep it with you, laminate it, and put it in your desk, put it on your desk. Okay? So we're going to get into it. Why do we want to invest in real estate? And I do need to share my screen because I want you guys all to go through this. So let me share my screen. Let's see if this is going to work. Let's hope. Come on. I'm sharing screen now. Give me a second.
Okay, yeah, I gave you permission, so you should be good.
Okay. Let's hope. Come on. Oh, there it is. Sweet. Okay. Do you guys see my screen? Yeah. Okay. So do you guys see that it says why invest in real estate?
Mira, se me olvidó que tenía una junta, Nerita. Ahorita te hablo, sí, que termine. Se me olvidó, me mandaron un texto que porque no estaba en la junta.
Estamos ya para ustedes. So please mute yourself. That's cool. All right. So why do we invest in real estate? Really quickly. As we go through this, the number one thing is appreciation. Property will go up in value over time. Okay. That's one thing. Cash flow. Well, we talk about this passive income. Okay. The rental amount exceeds the amount of your mortgage plus your expenses equals your cash flow. Okay. Now, this is a good one. Hedge against the inflation. It's a tangible asset. That means you can touch it, feel it, hold it. Okay. And it stores value there regardless of what the market does. If the living expenses go up, so does rent. But guess what doesn't go up? Your mortgage doesn't go up. And then not unless you refinance, and you refinance out of your 3-4% into a 6 or 7, then we probably should be talking later that you shouldn't be doing that. Principal pay down. Your tenant will pay your debt. So you're technically going to have a free place over time. A lot of our properties are paid for free and clear because tenants paid them. I bought a house for $40,000 back in the day, and it's probably worth $300K now, but I've received like $200,000 just in income over the last 12 years. That's just something, that's just one property. So over time, a tenant will end up paying down that balance, which you're gonna have a free house. This is a cool thing as well. You can leverage the asset. You can pull out your equity, which by the way is a non-taxable event. That means if you have a $200,000 in equity because of the appreciation, which is the first thing that you're looking at, you're going to be able to pull out that money at a whatever interest rate, and then you can use that money to go buy another asset that will make you cash flow. So now that tenant that you bought that new property with is paying both of your loans, not just one. It's paying the equity line plus your specific home that you pulled out money from. So it's pretty cool. So not taxed and you make income. It's pretty sweet. Tax benefits, okay? You write off the interest, you write off the repairs, and this is a cool thing. You guys all know this. And if you don't, you can live in a house as your primary residence for 2 years, and if you sell it, you're not taxed anything. Up to $250K if you're single. If you're married, it's $500K. Okay? But the number one thing why we buy real estate is depreciation. This is why I buy it. I buy houses so I make zero money in taxes. So I make zero money in income, so I'm not taxed to the IRS. When you have a paper loss because of depreciation, it reduces your taxable income. Okay? This is ginormous. Everything else is cool, but literally you find ways to increase your ability to go represent buyers and sellers and go create some cash and use that cash to go buy some assets. And when you buy the assets, you depreciate it over 27.5 years if it's residential, 39 if it's commercial. And then you do this one thing that you guys got to circle this. Cost segregation. We're going to be talking about it in another class, but in essence, you're going to be able to write off the windows, the flooring, the cabinets, the stuff that lasts 5 to 15 years. Last year was the last year you were able to write off 100% of those items. This year, 2023, you're still able to write off 80% in bonus depreciation, which is called cost segregation. I did a cost segregation study in 2021, which is crazy because I paid, mind you, I paid $20,000 to get into a room where other people were doing things more than me, right? They were better than me, more successful. I got one nugget. That one nugget led me to cost segregation studies on a chunk of my portfolio. And in 2021, we did 18 cost segregation studies on some of my properties. And what did that do? That eliminated $1.2 million in income. Okay. That means if you do the math, that probably saved me about $600K that I did not have to pay the IRS. If anything, in 2021, I received a check back, first time ever, for like $50K. So we made a crap load, and then the state feds gave me back money because I had an increased paper loss over the taxable income that I had. This is why it's so important to know that you got to increase your earned income in your business so you're able to buy some assets. So then as you're becoming that badass real estate agent and that person that's well known in your market, you can make the money and then you can write it off because you buy the assets. And I don't care. I really don't give a shit if you make $500 a month in your cash flow or $300 a month in your cash flow, because the amount of money that you're going to save on depreciation is phenomenal.
Omar, I just want to add one quick thing.
Yes, sir.
The cost segregation thing, it's not for everybody. So because you are in real estate and you have a real estate license, the cost segregation aspect of it allows you to be able to claim that as active income instead of being passive. And so you can write that off versus, but you can't just get a normal Joe Schmo that you know is in another profession to do cost segregation the way we as agents can do it. They can still do it, but it won't affect them as much as we can. So you as an agent have a massive value proposition, being able to do cost segregation for your investment properties and be able to write off a big chunk of it.
Because we're real estate professionals, so we have that different delineation,
right.
You know, in our earned income. And you're right, Nazar. As real estate professionals that I'm looking at right now, all of you can do this. If you're a lender, you can do this. If you're a real estate agent, you can do this. But you can only do it if it's about $200,000 to $250,000 in value or more, because it doesn't make sense, because you have to pay, you got to pay cost segregation study to analyze your property, and it's probably going to be about $3,000, $4,000 a property. 2021, I paid $68,000 or $70,000 to do that study. So that $70,000 still was written off, and I was still able to not pay the IRS $607K, which is phenomenal. So this is why it's so important to know about why we invest in real estate. Okay, now this is going to be the meat and potatoes. This is where you can create more opportunities at your appointments, and then I'm gonna get into it now. So give me 1 second. Everybody got a screenshot of this before we switch? Yes? Show of hands. Yes. Okay, cool. Because I can't see the chat. If somebody can monitor the chat, if anybody's asking questions, that'd be great. Okay. Going next.
Real quick, a couple questions that were asked were, where are you buying properties now? Like what cities are you buying them? And then are you pulling equity out of your personal home to buy investment properties? And then are you buying them cash, or are you getting financing for the properties in today's market with the rates as high as they are?
Great question. We're buying in San Bernardino County, Orange County, pretty much wherever there's going to be a deal, and in Arizona, as long as it pencils, we're buying there. And yes, I'm not using traditional financing because we maxed out our 10 loans on regular financing. So you have to get the DCSR loans, which is that debt service coverage ratio type of loan where your tenant will pay X amount of dollars, right? And your payment's going to be X. They give it to you based on what you're going to be renting out the property for. And most of the time, it's a higher interest rate. It's still 7%, 7.5%. You get something at 8%, I'd say take it and run, because it's still pretty solid. Remember, it's interest only. So I'm buying some cash, I'm buying some with hard money financing, and I'm also buying with private money as well. Because guys, we're in this business to create relationships, are we not? And the relationships that we create, how many times do you represent a seller that you know what they made, and you never ask them what they're going to do with their money? So many times. There's a difference. This is why you get in rooms like this. This is why you start understanding, like, oh, I could do that now. And I'm giving this game for you guys for free here, because this is what I've been doing the last, 8-10 years. So creating the opportunities at your appointments is something that you guys all need to understand, because we have the direct access to that seller. Do we not? If we're a listing agent, we have a direct access to the seller. We know exactly what they want. At least I hope you do. We know exactly what their needs are and how much money they're going to be making. So just remember that as we get through this this slide. So anybody else, Nazar? Before we get started on this one?
Yes, someone asked, are you buying investments with the 1% rule?
No. Ideally, it'd be great, but no, because it's California, and it's hard to get a 1%, 12% annually. No, because remember, depreciation is what I'm looking for. I don't care if it's $300 or $400 or $500 a month, but if I'm still increasing my earned income with representing buyers and sellers or doing loans or whatever the case, I want the asset to take that earned income away. And over time, this is a long game, guys. This is monopoly. This is not get rich quick immediately. This is monopoly. Who wins in the game of monopoly as you circle go and you get your $200, right? The person who has all the little houses. So whenever somebody sits on your house, or whenever somebody lands on one of your houses, you got to pay them rent. And how many times, if you're winning at the game of Monopoly, how many times are you cash poor? So many times, right? Because you're out buying the assets and you're like, damn, please land on Boardwalk or Park Place. Please land on it because I got a freaking hotel there now, right? And what ends up happening? All you need is a couple people to land on your place, and now all of a sudden you just increase your cash flow. But every time you go around, that's like 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. And Monopoly is not a quick game to really win. So just remember that as you're looking into your business and you're like dissecting it and figuring this out. Okay. So I know we got like 20 chats. Anything else, Nazar?
Rochelle asked, what type of properties are you buying? 1-bedroom, bath condos? What about land?
Buying SFRs because it's easy access to get in. Multi-units, 2, 3, 4 units, something that's under 5 units, right? Initially, I'm not buying any condos in different areas because you might need to because of value, because of how much the cost of entry is. Land, we do own land as well. Land just sits there, and you pay that tax bill every year. Unless you're going to develop that dirt and you know how to, then I'd probably steer away from land because it doesn't appreciate and there's not much you can do with it yet. You buy land now, and then as the market appreciates, you sell it to a builder for double. You could do that, but it's a longer play.
And there's no cash flow.
No cash flow. Exactly. All right, so we'll have some Q&A after. So let's get through this. Creating opportunities at your appointments. I didn't say listing appointments either. I used to say listing appointments, but I said just in general at any appointment that you're at, okay? So, give me 1 second. Hopefully, this works here. Come on. There it is. So, you got to know your potential exit strategy. Like, what are you going to do when you buy a property? Are you going to buy it to fix it? Are you going to buy it to wholesale it? Are you going to keep it as a rental? This is something I want everybody to know. Like, what are you going to do with that contract once you get it signed? Okay. I want all you listing agents to bring a purchase agreement with you to every single listing appointment. I don't care if it's $4 million listings that you get in Orange County. Robert, Ryan, literally, I don't care. Why? Because there's always something to be said. If you can buy a property at $3 million and it's worth 4, you can turn around and wholesale it to somebody that buys it for 3.2. You made $200,000 on that transaction. I've done it. So always bring a purchase agreement, just a 1-page or a 2-page, to the listing appointment. Okay? You want to establish the when, where, and why, and the condition when you're with that seller. You guys, I might be reiterating to the choir here, but this is something that I do still to this day. Kobe shoots that free throw, or he shot the free throw a lot. It was something that you have to do on a consistent basis to stay on top of your game. Okay? Figure out what they want in their pocket after all expenses, not the price. I don't want any listing agent to figure out, oh yeah, we're gonna list it for 400K. No, we're gonna make you X, Mr. Seller. Is that a number that you'd like? So many times at the appointment, I focused on the amount of money that they were gonna put in their pocket. And guess what ended up happening? I bought the property because they said, yeah, we want $100,000 in our pocket. Perfect. Bought a house for 80,000, 100K, 120K under value because they only wanted a certain amount of money. The whole thing is shut up and listen. Ask the questions. Zip your mouth and listen to your clients, because they will tell you exactly what they want. No, but Omar, we want to hurry up and list the property. We want to hurry up and list it because that's what we do, because that's what we ingrained to just list property and get the commission check. And I get it. But you can also smell that commission breath as well. I might be a little unconventional to tell you guys buy the damn house versus list the house. But you're not in this game to just make commissions. You're in the game to buy real estate and create wealth over time. I didn't say tomorrow. I said over time. Okay? Passive income. So you don't have to, so you wake up, and you have 80, 100K coming in just on rentals every month without you doing shit. Okay? So figure out what they want in their pocket versus the price that they want to sell it for. This is huge. You want to establish the need to sell versus the want to sell. This is big because this is going to lead you to more questions. So by a show of hands, or you guys can unmute yourself because I want participation. Do you think that if somebody wants to sell their property because of X, or they need to sell their property, who do you think is more motivated? The person that needs to or that wants to?
Needs to. Time.
Needs to.
100%. It's like the bleeding neck. They're in foreclosure. They're getting a divorce. They're going through life. Because we all go through life. Seriously. We're not all perfect. We all have our struggles. And sometimes you're that person that's going to help that person start their next chapter by listening. And then they need to sell. And you're going to be the person that helps them.
Omar,
As a real estate professional.
my limiting belief would be I don't want to take advantage of somebody. And then 2, have you ever been in a situation where you've been sued by maybe not the person that you bought it from, but maybe their family member that's saying, hey, you took advantage of my so-and-so that didn't know better, and you bought their property for X and you turned around and sold it for $100,000 more?
Yeah, I can get that. I can understand that, Nazar. That limiting belief, guys, of you're taking advantage of somebody. This is the thing. When you ask the questions and you give people 2 options, do you want to list it on the market and have a bunch of people coming in and out of your house? They're going to ask you for all these inspections. They're going to ask you for all of these things to fix to make sure that the deal goes through. which is completely fine, or you want to as is cash offer that you're going to be not bothered by a bunch of people coming in and out of your house. Yes, you're going to leave some money on the table, but it's the convenience. And sometimes, guys, you know how many times before I really understood this, I wanted to list the damn house because that's all I knew. And because I wanted to list the house, it didn't sell because I wasn't smart enough or creative enough to buy it. And then when the listing expired, an investor bought the property multiple times. So it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to be that person that creates their next chapter. The contract does state that the seller is not in any type of duress, get with an attorney to figure this out. We've had ours looked over so we don't get in trouble. And to answer your question, Azar, I think there's been one time that someone said, hey, we could have sold it for more money, this, that, and the other. It's like, yeah, you're right. You could have, but after I put $60,000 in the property, could you have done that, Mr. Seller? No, I think it was a fair win. And we know what I ended up doing? To let them go away and to have them stop talking the crap that they were talking. I wrote them a check for $5,000. I made some good money on the profit, gave them a mailbox money, you could say. And then they're my friend now. Because most people won't do that. Other investors do not give away money. But it's about the relationships that you do create. That's what's important. Okay? You want to give them options, which I just said about marketing and selling versus easy cash with no fees. There are pros and cons about all of this, though. There really is. So make sure that you go through it. And if you trust me, it's going to be hard when somebody says, hey, can you just buy my house? I just wanted to list it. Okay, well, now you're going to be prepared, right? Because you're going to bring a contract to the appointment to figure that part out. Okay, and we can help you through that. Remember, just because you think you're going to get the listing is the best scenario, doesn't mean it is. It could be, right? Because it makes you feel like you're doing the best thing for them. Not necessarily. And in different markets, Orange County might be a little different because everybody's somewhat more savvy there. That's a different animal. So the Robert Matt Group, you guys understand that part of it, but there's still deals to be had even there. So guess what? Try it at your next appointment. And guess what? See what happens. It's really that simple, guys. Guys, I want you guys to screenshot this. I know it's simple, it's easy, but have it in front of you. Like, go back to it. Go back to both of the slides. It's meant for you guys to take a picture of it, print it, and then put your spin on it if you need to. Laminate it. Put that.
Asking, are you using a different contract when you're buying these properties?
I am.
Would you mind sharing that, or is that something that you've worked on? Yeah,
we worked on it. We've evolved into a 1-pager to a 2-pager because we want to add more stuff. We've had attorneys check it out to add another verbiage, to add another paragraph because it's California, guys. Everybody's sue happy. So you definitely want to make sure that you have it looked over. Okay, you can still buy a house on the regular car form. I buy them all the time that way as well. Because guess where the #1 place where all people want to sell their property? We all have access to it. It's called the MLS. Everybody has their hand up. And there's agents that aren't skilled enough yet, and you guys all are, to call that agent and say, hey, listen, will that seller take X? I'll buy it for cash. Because you won't know unless you ask. Because most of the time, that listing that's on the market for 150 days in today's market, there's probably 2 things that's happening. The agent isn't very, in depth about what's happening with that seller, and he doesn't care or she doesn't care. But you are seeing that as an opportunity, because what if they don't owe no balance? They have no debt on it. And now you're going to be able to make an offer. You're going to be able to offer some terms, creative financing, owner carry. There's all kinds of ways to truly buy property. But this here needs to be step one. Because I'm not going to tell you to go get a hard money loan and do this, this, and this until you know exactly what to do at your appointment. There's steps to this. Step 1 to step 10? No. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That makes sense. Does that resonate with everybody? Awesome. Nazar?
Yes,
Go ahead. I'll end this so I can get you guys all back on regular Zoom. So hold on one second.
I have a question,
Yeah.
Omar.
Yes.
Okay, my question is, okay, I do have the experience, talking to clients and everything, but to role play, is a way to role play when you have an opportunity to get in, because I am new and doing wholesaling. Okay, I'm trying to learn this. What do I need to say? Because of course I can have the options, but I don't know how to start everything. Maybe some role play or something, examples.
Okay, so this is really quickly for everybody that has not been in an appointment where you're going to offer to buy their house.
Mm-hmm.
You're already going there. You're asking them, what their when, where, why is. Why do they want to sell? When do they want to sell? And where are they moving to? If they're downsizing, if they're upgrading, you want to find out if you could help them get to wherever they want quicker. And if listing it's going to be quicker for them because they need to maximize the amount of money they need to make, then obviously you're not going to offer to buy the house. If they want to hurry up and sell because they're going to miss out on another property that they made an offer on, and there's a ton of room here, that is where you step in and say, listen, you don't have to pay no commissions, and I'll buy the house. And there's a formula. I mean, we don't have the time to go through a whole process of role playing, but there is a formula. You guys are the professionals. You guys know what the houses are worth. I'm not going to teach you guys how to do that because you guys should know.
Mm-hmm.
So then if it's X and you're buying it for X and you create an $80,000 margin, you just made $80K in equity, or you made, $75,000 or $60,000 after rehab. Like, that's real money. That goes to your net worth. And Janeth, thank you for asking that. But as far as a role play, I mean, you can message me later on IG. If you guys don't follow me, Invest with Omar on IG. We throw out a lot of game about real estate stuff, and I do the best I can to share what I know and help you guys through that process.
Thank you, Mark.
Omar, I have a question real quick. You've been flipping You've been flipping for a number of years. Has there ever been a time where you flipped a property and lost your ass on it, lost a bunch of money? And if so, how did you mentally come back from that?
Great question. That just happened. So, bought a house. This is the one thing I'll share with you. If you're flipping property, stay in the area that you know. Okay? You're the expert in that specific area because you know the market in and out, you know the pulse. I was making a bunch of money and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. And I got lucky a few times, right? Because I'm going to say I got lucky. Everybody on the call here got lucky in the last 2 years. Now it's a different ball game, right? So I started investing in Joshua Tree, Landers, Yucca Valley. I bought a place. ARV was 520. I bought it for 380. I was like, all right, cool, I'm good. I could have wholesaled it for $20,000 profit. But no, I got my team, I got crews, whatever, right? I'm going to go ahead and fix this property up. Well, guess what happened? April, May, June, July of 2022. Interest rates shot through the roof. 7%, 6.8. Everybody started throwing their properties on because they're freaking scared. So I ended up selling that property after rehab and everything for $350K. I bought it for $380. Holding costs, rehab of about $30,000, closing costs of $20K, right? Each end, $10K purchase, $10K, $10, $15K, selling end. And I was going to keep it. I was talking to my lady about this. I was like, do we sell it? Do we just take the loss? And guess what happens? In 2022, which just happened, I got an offer for $350 cash. I said, listen, if you close this damn thing, I will hurry up and lose $100,000 so I can offset it from my taxable income. Again, it's double-edged sword, lost $100K, but I gained $40,000 to not pay the IRS. Okay, so in this case, it helped out. But Tessa, to answer your question, put it this way, if I didn't sell it, that crap in my head about like, damn, I can't believe I'm losing. This sucks. The holding cost is like $2,400 a month. I could have rented it out. I could have just waited it. But the minute I sold it, oh my gosh, like mentally, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm done. Like, this is cool. Let me go focus on something else that's going to replace that $100K or more. And all of us delay the loss longer than we should. I could have sold this earlier and lost 60,000, 50,000. So if you're on that fence, and a lot of us have some property and you're 20K, 30K in, like, damn, I'm going to lose 20K. Lose the 20K now, otherwise it's going to be 80K later. So it removes the space from that negative, crap that's going on there, Tessa. Hope that helps.
Omar, that's been fantastic. Lots of great information. I hope that, at least from my perspective, what I got out of today's call is don't be afraid to take risks. Sometimes you get burned, but if you don't ever take that risk, you'll never have that reward. You'll never have the opportunity to be able to do that. And so, and just like I think Tom or Todd said, like if you can't buy a $300,000 house here or 400,000, 500,000, whatever it is, go out of state. There's still states where you can buy properties for 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, and you can do it there, right? Imagine if you're buying a home for $100,000 as a long-term rental, you put 20% down, it's $20,000, right? And some of you guys, that's like less than half your commission or just one commission check. And you buy that property today. Now in those types of locations, you don't get the same cap or appreciation as you do in California, but you're still going to get that cash flow and you're still going to be able to have something you buy today for 100,000 and maybe in 10 years or so, it's going to be worth double that. So like, don't limit your opportunity to buy in this specific area. You can buy other places as well.
Spot on, Nazar. If you guys have any questions about anything, reach out to me via IG or take down my number. I'll put it in the chat now. And that's my cell phone directly. And if I don't get back to you right away, then I'll text you. My team will tell you that I don't ever answer my calls, but I'll get back to you eventually. So anything else before we wrap up? I know we went a little long, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I deliver more value so you guys can take it and run with it and, get motivated for 2023, because there's gonna be a lot of opportunities out there.
Hey guys, if you find these calls every Thursday beneficial to you, like share this link with people, like let people know, because we can have hundreds of people on here. And
And then if you guys want to go back and if you missed anything, we post these on our website, on Five Realty's website.
Yep.
There's a whole library of past calls. So if you're new to the call, go check out the library. There's a lot of really good guest speakers. It's typically give us an hour or two to download it and load it back up, but we usually have it done in the afternoons.
cool. All right,
Awesome, guys.
Awesome
Thanks
day.
a lot, Nazar, Christina, Jose, Oscar, all the lead coaches, Robert, everybody on. Thanks, Andy, Dane. Appreciate the intro. Tessa, thank you for joining, and my lady and my two little girls, thank you for joining too, which is awesome. So, all right, guys.
All right.
Here, if you guys,
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
we'll see you guys soon.